Today, our guest is Derek Charles Johnson. He is worship artist extraordinaire, as you can see by the guitar.
Oh,
and
man.
he is here to share his own story of hope. Yes. Welcome, Derek.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, thank you for coming. I'm so glad you could come.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Derek goes to the church at Spring Hill.
Church at Spring Hill.
That's
yes.
where we met.
That's where we met, and Bible studies.
That's where we get in trouble.
Yeah.
That's where we do all kinds of weird
Try
stuff. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you're doing weird stuff. If you are, I don't want to know.
We
about
did.
it.
We started writing a song.
Yeah.
We're gonna start writing songs.
Yeah.
So so quickly, I will clarify. This is a new podcast. It is a continuation of the Worship Band Builder Bible Study. So if you're new to this, you can go over and subscribe to that too on our channel. But this is going to be all about testimonies, hope.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, and because everybody's all uptight and mad and upset, and just the world is falling, right?
Feels that way.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty much.
We know that, right, Derek?
Yeah, it is.
We feel that.
Yep.
So we want to offer a new thought. The world is not going to end. Well, the world's going to end, but there is
Someday.
hope. Yeah. So I did a live feed yesterday. Don't give up, and it turned into just basically me and my friends bantering back and forth. But don't give up. We all have a story. Derek's got a great story. I've never heard Derek's story.
Yeah. Well,
He's just assuming it's great because he
I
knows
hope
what a
this
great
better be
guy
it.
you are.
This better be good.
better
Derek.
be good. Yeah. Better have lots of twists
Come
and
up with
turns.
something
and
exciting
I don't want
now.
to play it up too big.
Don't play. Well, Derek's record is on Spotify, right? What's the title?
Singing for the First Time.
Singing for the-
It's an
oh.
EP, about 7 songs. We released it in March. Came out right before the pandemic, so it was kind of interesting timing. But it was cool that it came out too, because then, well, people got nothing to do but listen to music. So
Yeah.
I was able to speak into that a little bit.
And
I
pray-
like that title.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been telling Derek I'm gonna bring you on the podcast for like a year, maybe 6 months.
But you're a busy guy.
I keep
You
saying
are
we're gonna do this.
busy.
We're gonna do this.
We're all busy, and
We're busy.
We're making it happen.
Derek
right
has
now.
like 9 children or 10.
Yeah.
How many is it
9 or
now?
10.
5 last count. So.
He's got 5 kids. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Wonderful kids, and we'll probably talk about them a little bit more
Sure.
here in a minute. But let's start with you and your story about how you came to know Jesus.
Yeah, well, really not super flashy, but grew up in a Christian home, had parents who were both raised in Christian homes and attended church. I'd say for a while growing up, I had an awareness of who God is and Jesus, and especially sin, like just sometimes even as a kid, like leaving a service or being at the end of a service and just feeling like that altar call or that invitation from the pastor, and that was for me, like every week, and just feeling like, okay, I messed up this week and I need to rededicate my life.
I bet some kids don't even know what that feels like. That's so rare in church anymore to have those altar calls. I don't know. That's something that I think maybe we need to put back in there.
Yeah, I do too. I think I struggled with it a little bit, but it was a good thing that eventually led me to the Lord. And my initial, I think, conversion or accepting Jesus was just something through the church. I think it was like a football camp that they had. I didn't play football, but I was just invited to it and went to it. And at the end of one of those sessions, it was just laying out the gospel. This is who Jesus is. You're a sinner. He went to the cross. He died for you. He rose from the grave. Just the gospel laid out. And it was enough to just say, I need to do that. I need to say the sinner's prayer. I need to confess Jesus as my Lord and Savior. And, through that, you make that decision once. Maybe you rededicate your life at some point if you're fallen away, but it's just day after day deciding to follow the Lord and be in the Word and in prayer and in accountability with other believers. So, yeah, it's
How
been a
old were
journey.
you when you did that?
I don't think I was, maybe around 10, give or take a year or two, maybe a little younger. But from there, it was like getting plugged into youth group. And I remember being really involved with youth group through junior high and high school.
Were you playing music even back then?
A little bit. I would be really embarrassed if you saw any. Thank goodness there's no like video. There's no like iPhones and recording everything. Didn't exist back then. So,
right.
But some pretty raw worship services. I think I had my Epiphone Les Paul or some guitar, and Eric knows.
Epiphone Les Paul.
And so
That's all you need when you're a teenager.
Right, that's all you need. It was just that and like a little amp, crate amp, and.
So were you playing in the youth band or something?
Yeah, I played a little bit. We started. I can't even remember. We didn't do a ton of worship. It was kind of like. We're talking mid '90s, so worship is just starting to become like this thing, and
You guys were
groups
playing
and all this stuff.
Trading My Sorrows like every week at youth
Probably
group,
trading,
right?
even back further, like Ancient of Days.
Oh,
Or,
Ancient of Days.
Celebrate Jesus. Celebrate that.
Celebrate
you guys know?
Jesus, sure.
Way
of
back.
course.
Did you go
Yeah, oh,
da
yeah.
da 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 da?
Yep.
Is that the one that Johnny Rogers used to do the cowbell
I don't know.
with his drum? Like, there was one song that everybody would get excited about
We should ask.
on Sunday morning because he
Yeah, I don't know if it
was on the drum kit and he would do this cool thing where he hit
It
the
might have
cowbell.
been. We should ask
That
Robbie.
doesn't sound cool.
Next
You would
time
have had to have been there.
Yeah.
we should ask Robbie if we can do Celebrate Jesus next.
Let's see if we can work.
Oh
I think
my
that Throwback
goodness.
Sunday. That's kind of becoming a thing.
You should
now,
text him and
it's-
ask
That
him.
would
let's
be
do it.
kind of fun.
Just see what he does.
Our,
He'd probably
our
start
lead pastor
sweating.
might want to have
Yeah.
awareness of that too, just
It
so
would
he
be
knows
really
it's coming.
interesting to see what the reaction to that would be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just want to see Robbie's reaction when
Right.
you're like, "Hey man, I got this great song here. Check it out." Text that to him. He's probably
I've got a
watching.
cassette to give you. Here, it's on.
Oh boy. Well, so you never had like a period where you rebelled or turned away from
Oh,
God
yeah, I wanna hear
for a
about that.
while?
Not super rebellious. I mean, I never like got into drugs or anything. I mean, I felt like a real, I guess, sense of duty from high school to college to like, this is the next thing you got to go through. My field of study right out of high school was pharmacy. So it was a 6-year program. It's like 2 years of pre-pharmacy. You got to apply to get in. You got to take the entrance exam, and you got to keep your grade up because that's part of it. So it was just like this duty thing, like.
Was somebody
Keep
else
your
in your
nose clean.
family a pharmacist? Why did you go that
No,
direction?
my mom was a nurse. My sister is a nurse, but not. I guess I felt drawn to the medical field for some reason, and as you're kind of going through those tests when you're in school, they're like, this is where your interests are, and this matches up with your, what subjects you're doing
Right,
well.
I remember
It's-
doing one of
yeah,
those.
all that stuff. So, I didn't want to be like a doctor, didn't want to be a nurse, didn't really want to deal with blood or like, a lot with people.
I can
and
get that.
so, yeah, I was like,
Sure.
I can be the guy that just hands out the pills and,
There you go.
study all that. So it seemed
Yeah.
appealing.
Right. Well, it
Yeah.
does seem like a cool job.
It's good. Yeah, I'm still doing it, and it's always been constant throughout ministry that I've had pharmacy to kind of fall back on and do, no matter if I've been full-time at a church, I've still been a pharmacist to kind of, keep things going. But
Wait, were you a
yeah.
pharmacist and a worship leader full
I
time?
was. Well, no. Well, it kind of was like full-time pharmacist, part-time worship leader. But as my last church that we were at in South Dakota, it was full-time pretty much at the end. And Corey was on staff as well. And so
Corey
we
is
tried to-
Derek's wife.
Corey's my wife. Yep. She was doing children's ministry, and I was doing worship, and yeah, we just made it work. And I'd still work some at my pharmacy job, and moving down here, it kind of went back into it. But I'm still doing a lot of just ministry stuff, kind of building that
Moving
on my
here
own.
from the Dakotas.
From the Dakotas, yeah, South Dakota.
South
All right,
Dakota.
let me ask you
Yeah.
a question.
Yes.
I got a question. So you're sitting in you were 10? What you?
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
Mhm.
So I think I want to go back to your
Sitting in church.
sitting in church, hearing
Yeah.
the gospel,
Yeah.
and every time you do, you think you got to get saved.
Right.
I remember getting saved like every week when
Right.
I was like 10, but I didn't know what that means. I was just like, yeah, of course, I'm probably. It was, and even it probably was even older than that.
Well, I would.
Belbert Community-ish,
Didn't
sixth,
you
seventh
kind of
grade.
only go to church on Christmas and Easter? So
Yeah, we would go to church sometimes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then we went to Belbert Community when I was like in 7th grade, 8th grade, ninth grade.
And you were going every week
For some, we'd have
for a
times.
spell, kind
Yeah,
of.
and then I would get saved, and then I would
Yeah.
just be like, I don't know what that means. So what?
Right.
Talk about that. When did you
Right.
just sort of know? Were you going to church all the time, just getting saved
Yeah.
every week?
I think we had a change in some of the churches a church that we were going to for quite a while, and then had moved and went to a different church, and probably more of a charismatic background in some of those earlier days as I was growing up, and with the altar calls and stuff like that. So, and I'd say really it's interesting because in high school I was on the swim team. Don't want to go back to any memories of that, but I was on the swim
Hey,
team.
Lauren's a swimmer too.
Yeah.
Our friend.
Lolo.
Okay.
She may be here next week or soon.
Oh yeah,
So.
we're gonna have 2 swimmers in a row.
I'll have to compare
What?
notes
Believe
about
that?
swim team.
That's amazing.
I wasn't a good swimmer, but there was a guy on our team. There was like a fall retreat or something through his church, so he invited a bunch of us guys. There were 5 or 6 of us that I think were in the same class, like junior, senior year, and we went to this fall retreat. And I remember distinctly, like at that event, like there was one night where there was, a clear like gospel message and this feeling like I need to respond to this. But I remember like the person that I talked to then after that service was really like, hey, you don't have to do this every time you feel like, oh, I've messed up. It's not like this conversion experience all over again every time. It's a relationship. Once you've said, Jesus, I accept you. I believe that you're God's son. I believe you went to the cross. All the tenets of the gospel. Like, if you get it, like that's here. That needs to go to here. And I think that was a
That
disconnect.
everything you've done has already been forgiven,
Right.
past, present, future.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
That's a big concept.
Yeah.
I bet there are a lot of people who go through their whole lives and never really understand that.
Right. Yeah. And I think it was probably some years of just maturing to even be a teenager to kind of start to grasp that. And then it's been more, even just since getting married and having kids, that you even start to understand more of this further. So we're all works in progress. We're all figuring out what this thing means to follow Jesus and what it
So
looks
true.
like.
Yeah, so talk about the chorus of your song. I mean, it's kind of, this song is called...
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the title is.
This is called My Hope is in the Cross, and we put it on the album. It's actually one of the first songs when we went through and started writing. It was one of the ones I had brought that I had already written. We did some rewrites and tweaking of it. It was written with my producer. His name is Jay Spate. He lives right here in Spring Hill.
Spring
And
Hill.
So
Yeah.
this was a co-write.
There's a co-write and plus a guy named Ross King. So
Ross King.
If you look at Ross, his
I know where Ross
resume is.
I don't
Do
know.
you really?
I don't know him personally. I know his music. He's
He's
got a
a
bunch of music.
He's a prolific
Oh.
writer. He's
He's big time. Like a
he's-
bunch of albums. and
bunch
writing.
of yeah. He's written his
Okay.
own stuff, but he's been on stuff like Jason Gray has done and Jordan Feliz and a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah, he's got some
like,
really cool. He's a kind of a, I don't know, I don't even know. He does a bunch of Bible songs now too. I think
He does a lot of
he does
stuff.
a lot of different stuff. Not just
it's
full.
tied into like a curriculum with like Bible like memory verses or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he'll
Oh.
get these songs that'll get up in like the iTunes kids charts and be right up there with like Baby Shark and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah,
That's really
so-
good.
Yeah, check him out,
pretty-
Ross
pretty
King.
cool. Yeah.
All the links for Derek's songs and maybe even this guy was Ross.
Yep, Ross King.
We'll put this in there so you can see it and check it out. Yeah, it's cool.
Yep.
So this chorus.
Yeah.
I was listening to it today and I was like, this is the challenge if you want to become a Christian, if you want to know, I mean, even Christians, it's like we always want to like get saved over and over again. I mean, when I was 10, that was like, okay, I didn't really know. But even now, if we don't do sort of like what this song says, put our complete hope in the cross, because you're not going to be good enough. I try to tell people that when I'm talking to people. I try to say, and I use this analogy, and I used this way back, because people want to be good enough, and the Bible just flat out says you're not good enough.
That's
You are
right.
you are as good as you can be. This is in the Bible. It is a filthy rag. It's just a big dirt rag on the ground. That's as good as you can be. So there is no hope for you to be good enough. But this song talks about a totally different version of that. What is it?
Yeah, hope
My
is
hope
in the
is in the
cross.
cross, yeah.
Right, that's where we put our hope because of what Jesus has done on the cross, and we can put, rather than on ourselves or anything we can do, it's all on Him and what He's done.
Yeah. So
Let's sing.
Let's get ready to sing
right.
this song because I want to do that, and then we'll come back and talk a little more about it. Once you hear what Derek's saying in the chorus, let that sink in.
Once without hope, scarred and broken, till I came face to face with love divine. In all my shame, I was so desperate. Jesus came and redeemed my life. My hope is in the cross of Christ, where mercy reigns and death has died. My soul is free, my heart's alive. My hope is in the cross. No debt I bear, all thanks to Jesus. His blood uncovers all of sin's dark stains. God's wrath was placed upon Him. My afflictions He surely bore. My hope is in the cross of Christ, where mercy reigns and death has died. My soul is free, my heart's alive. My hope is in the cross. I will trust only Jesus, who paid the greatest cost. I will trust only Jesus. My hope is in the cross. I will trust only Jesus, who paid the greatest cost. I will trust only Jesus. My hope is in the cross. My hope is in the cross of Christ, where mercy reigns and death has died. My soul is free, my heart's alive. My hope is in the cross. Oh, my hope is in the cross.
Amen.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks for
sharing
joining
your
me.
song with us. That's so great.
This is fun.
I love that you picked that one for today. Really good.
Yeah, so you want to talk about it?
Well, I have just a short thing that I wanted to share from Colossians 1:1, and it talks a little bit about what, well, it doesn't talk about this. I'm going to talk about this. So Derek was saying that we have to know that we're saved. Whether we're doing our best, whether we're perfect or not, we have to know that our salvation is completely reliant on the work that Christ did in the cross and in being raised to life from that. He has overcome all of the sin, past, present, future, and that is where our hope lies. So we talked last week a little bit about Colossians, and the very first verse, the very first verse says, "This letter is from Paul, chosen by the will of God to be an apostle of Christ Jesus, and from our brother Timothy." And it's really easy to skip over this first verse because it's just like, it's the intro. But almost every time in the New Testament that Paul writes a letter, he opens it this way by reminding himself and his readers of his calling, his purpose, and his identity. He says, "I am chosen by the will of God to be an apostle of Christ Jesus, a delegate of the Savior." So I went through and I looked up I looked through all of the letters that he wrote in the New Testament, and most of them start that way. Let me see here, I wrote this down. Of his 13 letters preserved in the New Testament, he opens 10 of them with a mission statement like that. And in 2 of them, his first words are used to remind the recipients of his letters of their calling to continue to follow Jesus. It's so important that we continue to bring that to the forefront of our mind, whether we're just reminding ourselves or we're using our time to remind each other, especially now when things seem a little bit scary out there in the world. We have to cling to our hope and remember who we are.
Amen to that.
Amen.
So that's
really good.
So make sure you check out Derek's music because you can listen to that
Yes.
song.
That's not the only good song he has. I was listening on Spotify today, and you will enjoy his work.
Yeah, I like Pray. I always like that. I think that was the first song I heard on your record.
It might have been. Yep.
I was like, "Wow, that's kind of cool." Like,
Yeah.
what?
What's the one right after this on the Spotify list? Do you know?
That's the last one, I think.
This is the last one on the track or on the album.
Yeah, it's got this real catchy kind of click thing that
Yeah.
that opens it up.
Oh, you might be talking about doing something new. That might be it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah.
That one is a fun song.
Yeah,
I
that was
like
a lot of fun. That was the last song actually we wrote before like finishing the whole album, and that was just fun. Like have a happy kind of
Yes.
positive type of song. So
Yeah.
real poppy.
So if you want to share your testimony, your story, you should. You should do
You
it.
do
It's
not
good.
have to be a rock star to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to have a Spotify album. Not everybody has one of those. Actually, the only 2 guests we've ever had on our show do have Spotify albums,
But that doesn't mean anything.
but I don't think Lauren does, and she'll be on.
No,
So she'll break.
Lauren does not have an
Lauren,
album yet.
Could you get an album before next week? And then, you can always email me because we can do Zoom, or you can come to Nashville and you can do that thing too.
Yeah.
So Derek, thanks for coming,
Hey,
and
thank you
check
guys.
that out. And then, we will see you on the next episode. I will see you live sometime tonight because I'm going live. I got some really cool stuff to do. God bless you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.